Alright, so I got all the extra support added into the rear subframe now. So I'm just going to get off all the welding slag and stuff and paint the whole thing with port 15, which works really well. So I'll do that right now. Things all painted up now and ready to go into the car. So I'm going to put the subframe in the car right now for you guys. It's really not that bad to do. It's pretty much 4 bolts, and then I'm pretty sure I'm going to have to use a jack to lift where the springs go back up to the shocks, so you can connect that. You pretty much just need a 15 and 18 millimeter, maybe a 16. I'm not quite sure if the 16 is needed for this, but it's not that bad. And because the diff is out of it, I'll probably just like push it up into place, and 2 of the screws, or 2 of them are bolts that have a cap, and then 2 of them are studs that you put a nut on. So you're able to like lift it up and get the nut and washer on, and that will hold the subframe in place. So it takes like a half hour to drop the whole back end out of these cars. It's really not that bad. So we'll do that now. Okay, so we're under the car right now, and I'll show you guys what I was talking about as far as the bolts you need to hook up to. So there's one of the bolts. Then this one's a stud with a washer on it, a bolt, and then a stud. So I'm going to take all of them out. Okay. And then as far as other things down here, these are the e-brakes, which I didn't mess with to take it out because I left the brakes and stuff in place. These are sensors for anti-lock and speed, as is this one and this one. So now I'm going to get the subframe, and I'll slide the subframe into place right here and then push it up onto those front studs. Alright, so I'm under the car now, and basically I'm just going to pick this up onto those front 2 bolts and screw the nuts and washers on real quick. Okay, so I do have all 4 now. I had to mess with the threads on that one and chase it with a, I think it's a M12 by 1.5 die. And I was able to bring the threads back on the tip of that stud and get the subframe up in there. I'm not really sure if I'm going to put these back on right now, because I'm going to swap out brakes. I'm going to have to be pulling axles. Be doing a bunch of stuff back here, so I might just leave the arms dropped for the time being. And I'm also not going back on with the sway bar yet because the diff's out. So I'm more or less going to stop it here, but that's how you put a subframe in. It's really not that bad. I looked at, so to get the initial bolts in without messing around with, so getting the initial bolts in under the subframe and just lifting it, getting it up in, bolting it, and having it in place. When I looked at the timer on the camera, it took about 15 minutes. So really not bad. Even with messing around with the threads and stuff, it took about half an hour to get the subframe into the car. So not too bad. It's the same time doing it with the diff in it. It's just doing it with the diff in it, you really have to use a jack. You can't just muscle it in. And even muscling in like that it's not super heavy, but that was difficult. It's definitely not super easy to hold like the 70-pound thing, wrestle it, hold it in place while you're trying to do bolts. But it's the type of thing where it's worth it to suck it up and just do it and have it done in 15 minutes versus messing around with jacks and a bunch of other tools. But it's definitely a harder way to do the job. So that's it for now. Stay tuned for more work on the car. Like, subscribe, and thanks for watching.